Okay, thank you for staying. Please join me in welcoming producer Mitsuo Harada. And director Junji Sakamoto. I'm Karen Severance. Our interpreter tonight is this on? Wow, sounds strange. Our interpreter tonight is Mihoko Imai, and as always, I'm going to quickly introduce our guests before we get to the Q&A. Let me begin with writer-director Junji Sakamoto, who has been winning awards since his 1989 debut, Knockout. In 2000, he won the Japan Academy's Best Director Award, among many, many other prizes, for Face. He was also nominated for the Golden Bear at the Berlin International Film Festival for KT in 2002, and was in competition at Carlo Vivari International Film Festival with Out of This World in 2004. Among many, many other highlights of his career are Children of the Dark, A Chorus of Angels, The Projects, the TIFF competition film Another World, and one of my favorite recent films, My Brother, the Android, and Me. And he last joined us in 2017 with Ernesto. Welcome back. Mitsuo Harada first collaborated with Junji Sakamoto in 1991. And he became the art director of Mr. Sakamoto's film The Goofball in 1998. In 2000, Mr. Harada won the Mainichi Film Concours Art Direction Award and the Fujimoto Award Special Prize for Mr. Sakamoto's Face. They have continued to work on many films together, and he has also earned many Japanese Academy Awards for his work. Among the highlights are Aegis, Termai Romai. Does everyone remember this one? Termai Romai. Okay. The Unforgiven, Samurai's Promise, Battlestar Ibuki, and My Brother, the Android, and Me. Welcome, Mr. Harada. Okay, we will begin with a question to both of these gentlemen because I know they have collaborated so closely on this film. This actually marks Mr. Sakamoto's 30th film, and I wonder how in the world this idea of this strange and unusual angle on life came about, and was it difficult pitching this idea to get funding, cast, and crew? If both of you could address this.
はい、まず FCCJ からお二人へ、質問させていただきますけれども、今回非常に素晴らしいコラボレーション、拝見しました。そして監督におかれましてはもう長編30本目ということになるわけですけれども、非常に今回はユニークな視点で語られている物語だなと思ったわけですが、この着想はどこから来たのでしょうか。企画の発端についてお話しいただけますと幸いです。またテーマがテーマですから、例えば、その資金を募る上で、あるいはキャスティングをする上でスタッフを集めていく中でいろいろチャレンジングな、なんというか難しいところがあったのではないかと思うのですが、いかがでしたでしょうか。
そもそもYOIHIプロジェクトっていうプロジェクトがまずありまして、プライベートな話になるんですけど、ちょっと自分は大病を患うタイミングがあって、世の中もコロナになり、これからどうやって生きるのか、あとは映画とどう向き合うのかっていう時に、学者の人たちと出会う機会があって、さまざまな環境問題とかサイクラバイオエコノミー、そういった問題を映画に散りばめて、作品を作って、で観客の方がそれを見て自発的にそういう問題に向き合えるような活動ができないかなっていうところからまず始まって、その時の学者の、アイデアが江戸時代は、世界トップクラスの循環型社会だったっていうところもあり、そこに海地の話もあったの で、これは映画になると思って坂本さんに伝えに行ったっていう願いに行ったというか、大きく。
ありがとうございます。So it all started out with to explain about how this project came together. I have to explain to you a certain project that I am leading, which is called the YOIHI project. This came about because, and to tell a bit of a personal story, I myself fell very ill at one point, and also in the midst of the pandemic, I was quite at a loss as to how I am supposed to progress forward in my life, and how I am supposed to progress forward as an artist in filmmaking. So I was dealing with all of these personal issues and personal questions, and it was through that I happened to befriend several academics who were talking about environmental issues and circular bioeconomies and so forth. And the idea came together that we should try to deal with these issues through filmmaking and show films to the audience members that depict such themes so that we can raise awareness about these themes among the audience members. And there was one member of this project who was an academic who came to me with the idea, or with the fact that the Edo period in Japan was actually the most sustainable and circular bioeconomy in the world. And he happened to tell how, for example, human feces was integrated into this whole bioeconomy. And then I thought that was a good idea, so I brought that idea to my director, Mr. Sakamoto. That's how that all began.
Yes.
あと、僕が任されることになって、ただ原田が資金を調達して長編に臨む予定でしたが、コロナ禍もあってなかなか叶わず、3年前に、15分だけ1本1日で彼のポケットマネーで取り、その短編を持ってパイロット版として、資金を集めるという予定だったんですが、これをまたうまくいかずで、しびれを切らした原田がまた自分のお金で2年前に15分間だけ1日で撮ってということで、去年やっと映画業界と全く関係のない財団から資金提供があり、残りの60分を去年撮って合わせて90分となりました。だから3年がかりでできた映画です。
And to talk about how the production came to be, we had originally, Harada-san had originally planned to gather funding for a feature film, a feature-length film. However, with the pandemic, that did not come to fruition, unfortunately. So this was now 3 years ago already. We decided just to shoot a 15 minutes of footage with Mr. Harada's money, his own money. And then we plan to use that as a pilot so that we could shop it around to gather further funds to fund this time a feature-length film. However, that did not come to fruition either at that time. So again, now this was 2 years ago, we shot another 15 minutes worth of footage in one day, but both of these 15-minute segments were shot in one day, respectively. And then after that, it was a certain foundation, which has nothing to do with the film industry, that gave us the funding, with which we were able to shoot another 60 minutes of footage, and hence you have a 90-minute film. So this was 3 years in the making, actually, or a project that took 3 years to make.
That's a wonderful story for such veterans in the industry to actually go through this.
このようなベテラン監督でもこうやって結構な苦労を経て作品を完成にこぎつけたわけですね。
Okay, now it's your turn. Please raise your hand, wait till the microphone reaches you, and please ask one question.
はい、では会場の方から質問を募りたいと思いますけれども、申し訳ありません。一人一問までお願いいたします。
Yes, Kathy.
Thank you so much for an excellent film with an excellent topic. My husband is one of these researchers dealing with circular economies. And so I know that finding a location to shoot something in Edo times is extremely difficult in Japan because there are very few untouched places. Could you talk about the locations that you used for the film, particularly the river, because most rivers tend to have concrete or other modern things, so the locations that you used for shooting this film. Thank you very much.
はい、素晴らしい作品を、また面白いテーマ描かれていたと思います。ありがとうございます。実は私の夫がこういう循環型経済について研究している研究者なんですけれども、映画で非常に面白いと思ったのがロケ地がどこなのかっていうところに興味が湧きました。江戸時代を背景にした、その撮影となるとロケハンが結構大変なんじゃないかと思うんですけれども、つまり人の手が加わっていないスポットを見つけるのが難しいのではないかと思うのですが、これについて教えていただけますでしょうか。特に川のシーン、普通ならコンクリートがあったりなかなか見つけられないんじゃないかなと思うんですけれども、いかがでしたでしょうか。
まず長屋とかその江戸の建物は京都にある、東映そして松竹の撮影所ですでにあるセットを飾りを変えて使いました。あと船の場面ですけど、それは渡良瀬遊水地というところが栃木とか群馬とかいろんな県にまたがって巨大な貯水池があるんですね。そこを川に見立ててやりました。そこはほぼ360度、現代的な建物が見えない場所で、やりました。で実際の川でやると当然コンクリートとか現代的な建物が入ってきてしまうので、そこを避け、あるいは船の安全を鑑みてその池を川に見立ててやりました。
So with the row houses and other pieces of architecture and buildings or houses that you see in the film, these were all shot on sets that were already established, that were already built. We shot at namely Toei Studios, the sets at Toei Studios and Shochiku and Shochiku Studios. As for the river scenes or the scenes where we see the boat, we actually shot it not on a river but at a dam, which is located in Tochigi or along the borderlines along Tochigi and other prefectures. This was one wonderful place where you could have a 360-degree view without having to have within your frame any kind of modern architecture or modern buildings. And it was safer for the ship or for the boat as well. So that's why we decided to shoot not on a river, but in a dam like that.
Yes. Song-song?
とても感動しました。笑いもあって涙もありました。で、そうですね、映画の色についてちょっとお伺いしたいんですけれども、全体的な雰囲気はモノクロトーンなんですけれども、でちょこっとしたところでカラーが入るんですが、その撮影っていうのが全部カラーで撮影されたのか、それとも後で変換したのか、そして撮影する前からここはモノクロ、あれはカラーとか、それをどういうふうに決めていたのか教えてください。
So this is a question for, I suppose, the director, but it was a very impactful film with lots of laughs and also tears as well, and I really liked it, so thank you. My question is about the color that was used in the film, which was very interesting. It is, of course, entirely shot, well, we see the majority of the film in black and white, but it is interspersed with scenes of colored scenes. And I was wondering if it was shot and colored and then transferred to black and white and then rendered into black and white, or otherwise, and how did the director come to the decision to shoot or to make certain scenes in color and then make certain scenes in black and white? How did he go about that?
映画をフィルムで撮ってる時代のモノクロっていうのはモノクロ用のフィルムとかあったんですけど、今全てデジタルでの撮影になると今回もカラーで撮ってモノクロに転換してます。でカラー撮ってモノクロに転換するだけではなくてライカフィルムっていうフ ふうに言うんですけど、現像書で粒子を足してフィルムのように画面を荒らしてます。それが一つカラーからモノクロに転換だけど、そのままでは仕上げてないということ。それから時々カラーになってるのはもう撮影前からスタッフにはこのカットはカラーでいくよというふうに伝えてあります。で、なぜそのモノクロームで、押し通さなかったかっていうと、全編モノクロームだと僕が想像するに随分以前に撮影された過去の映画を引き出してきたようにしか見えないと思って、でこの映画の中にある底辺にあるそのテーマみたいなものが今にもつながってるんだよというところをちょっと気づいてほしくて、瞬間瞬間こうカラーを挟みました。
ありがとうございます。Back when people used to shoot on film, of course, if you were to shoot in black and white, you would have to use the appropriate time of film stock. However, as we are shooting in digital these days, you, as you said, shoot in color first, and then you render it into black and white. So that's how we did it. We also did something else, which is a process that we call in the film industry, quote-unquote, microfilm, which means that during the printing process, we added a bit of grain to it. So we had that film kind of feel instead of a digital feel to it. As for the colored scenes, this was a very deliberate decision as to which scenes to put in color, to render to show in color, and which to not. And I had already told my crew beforehand certain scenes that were going to be shown in color. I didn't want to have the film shown in black and white through and through, because if we hadn't had any colored scenes in there, it would have felt like a very ancient story told in modern times, and therefore not relevant to today's day and age in which we exist in. However, on the other hand, I think that the theme that this film is depicting or speaking to is a very relevant theme to us who live in this modern society, and I wanted to catch the audience's attention in terms of that. And so that's why we decided to put colored scenes in the film as well.
That all sounds like a pretty good excuse, but I was thinking maybe it has something to do with the fact that we couldn't deal with looking at all that pee and poop in color, in vivid color. Did that have anything to do with it at all?
これも監督にお伺いしたいのですが、やたら糞尿を描く、登場する映画ですから、ちょっとカラーはさすがにっていうこともあってモノクロにされたのか、いかがでしょう？
違うんですよ。モノクロームで撮ることが昔から憧れで、今回プロデューサーの原田も、共感してくれてモノクロームでやろうと。言えば今の映画界企業は多分モノクロでスタンダードサイズっていう狭いサイズの企画はやっぱり、通してくれないと。じゃあもう僕ら個人でやるんだから思い切ってモノクロにしようよっていうのが先なんです。で撮影の準備中映画のスタッフが糞尿を一生懸命作っていました。そこを僕らどんなものができるんだろうと見学に行った時に、ああモノクロでよかったよねってそこで初めて言った。
So the answer to the question is actually no. It had always been an aspiration of mine to shoot in black and white. And with this, Mr. Harada agreed and empathized with me and agreed to that. So that's why we decided to do this project in monochrome in black and white.
Tokyo Borderless TV